Alright, so when I was a kid, I was allowed every week to go to a place called Video Easy, and they had video games. So I would rent one every single week, and at this rental store, they had two Sims games. Sims Castaway, which I might cover in a future video, we'll see what this one does. And then Sims 2. But not just Sims 2, but Sims 2 for the DS. But what's the difference? Just give me a sec. So as soon as you open the game, you are greeted with this fucking amazing, badass fucking intro. Look, you coming into town in your car, you got the guitar riff, the and your car crashes or whatever, and the fly lands on a cow's ass, and that's the game. Look at that, beautiful. Just as soon as you've been blessed by that cutscene, you make your character, and they arrive in Strange Town, a dead quiet plot of concrete in the middle of the desert. Old mate here reckons that your engine is full of holes, and it'll take some time for him to repair. But also that in the meantime, you should hunker down at the ominous-ass hotel, overlooking the entirety of the map. And from here, you are free to roam around. And immediately, you'll notice the weird, angular, mental, white noise that the town is. So here's what you got in the town. You've got the pub, where you'll meet the horniest mother I would not like to fuck, the shop ran by this green kid who never speaks, the courthouse, the jail, and of course the hotel. And also the desert itself, which is its own area. The textures made for the DS are rough and grey, and everything feels like I'm watching it on a very old television. I mean, the whole setting is just off. It kind of reminds me of one of those backrooms levels that all the kids are talking about. You know, the one with like, it's like there's hills and they got like houses. It's literally just hills and houses, but it looks like where Peppa Pig Street would look like. It doesn't look like that at all. Anyway, the accompanying soundtrack is appropriate for the setting, and that actually is the case throughout the game. And let me tell you, there are some serious Strange Town bangers and fucking mash later. You won't believe it. Anyway, let's just get into the hotel. So the clerk here tells you that the manager of the hotel has just run off, maybe into the desert. But, oh no, the lights aren't on. Say, could you follow this trail of Simpsons rods into the basement and restock the, what's it called? Oh, it's on the tip of my brain cell. Oh yeah, the fucking nuclear reactor that powers the whole hotel? Yeah, she'll be right. So after picking up these uranium rods with my bare fucking hands, he'll tell you that one of these rods will power the hotel for 3 days. And by the way, that's 3 real life days. That's right, this game goes off the time that you put into the DS, so that it'll follow the 24-hour cycle of real life, just like Animal Crossing. Keep this in mind for later. As soon as the lights come back on, old mate comes in and tells you to vacuum the place like any of this should be a problem. Oblige, and then the fucking mayor comes in and basically tells you that if the hotel were not to operate, literal wars would be fought. This is when our delightful mama Hog, H-O-G, Hog, like one of them, enters and sees the mayor is so upset he's stuck in an idle animation. And this is the first time you'll get to play the emotional manipulation minigame in an attempt to restrain the mayor. When you do that, he decides that you must become the new hotel manager, and he gives you the keys and the manager suite, which also happens to be one of the fucking worst rooms in the game, by the way, and then you're off into the desert to find a carpenter to build a casino in the hotel. Tristan Legend the Carpenter, and just like any of us, he's lonely because his girlfriend was killed by giant scorpions, and he's out here to catch tiny meteors with his bare hands to deal with the loss. So cheer him up, give him a couple hugs, and he remembers the concept of the passage of time, and he's like, yeah, I'll build a casino. So you go to the courthouse and buy a building permit. And what do you know? He's already done building.
Hey Star, just in time, I just hammered my last nail minutes ago. Just like minutes ago you're in the fucking desert, what?
So now we see the atrium, which somehow exists. It also houses 8 more rooms like some kind of whack TARDIS, and one of them is the brand new casino. We got a slot machine and a pirate-themed card game which slaps. But wait just a minute.
What? What?
An actual alien lands in the lobby with his jetpack and announces his plans to take over the Earth. Tristan tells you that it's such a non-issue, he straight up got shit better to do. And then he tells you to go buy a water gun from this drug dealer outside. Do that, and then squirt the alien, and then he makes this sound. Then he jets out of there, and then the mayor gives you $1,000, which like any good hotel manager, I will take directly to the casino. Which apparently is Giga Chat activity, because after one spin on the pokies, I was surrounded by strange women. This one wanted a high five, and then this one was going to attack me, and I had to memorize her aggravated sign language. But then when she let me go, I was finally able to play the pirate card game, which took me a minute to get reacquainted with. But it came back to me soon enough. Quick flex to Miwat, and I was on my way. Got back into the lobby, checked out this bikey dude to the only room I had, took one step out of the hotel, and the Godfather wants to move into my penthouse. Which I apparently have, and I'm not living in. And he wants to live there for a few weeks. He introduces himself and then promptly demands $1,000 to fly his cousin Jimmy in. Quick high five in the bathroom, stop for a quick rat infestation, and then back at the Godfather's. He wants me to deliver a stuffed cow head to the mayor. I guess that's nice. After I've delivered the bovine head to the mayor, I go check out the shop and meet the sickly green kid running it, and check out his monthly special item. A Sisyphus arcade game. I guess they were aware of the current memes going on, but depressed I couldn't afford it after gambling, I decided to buy a couple scratchy tickets. Or like 30, 40, like a lot. Like I bought a lot. I spent a lot of time doing this. I give up and decide to get dinner at the pub, and play a bit of Space Invaders. Then this guy calls me and tells me that the casino is paying out in double. So I immediately go to play a fuck ton of Magic the Bothering until I'm rich enough to buy every guest room permit. But they're all gonna take 8 actual hours to build. Never being a fan of Clash of Clans, I decided to do a bit of cheeky time travel and change my computer's clock until all the rooms were done. The secret warehouse is located in the basement, right next to our singular punching stake in our Hadron Collider. So what do you think is gonna be in there? Bigfoot. Naturally, I try to befriend this goofy Canadian Sasquatchuan, and he tells me that as long as I bring him hot dogs, he will keep my guests happy. Based. Now it's time to check out the place where I spent most of my time as a kid. The gallery. Here you can do a bit of MS painting and display your art in your guest rooms, or wait until someone buys them. The funny thing is, you actually don't need to paint anything beyond a single dot to be sold. But that didn't stop me from trying my hand at some Ringo Starr style art. Then the drug dealer from before called me just to tell me he hated one of my paintings so much he paid $300 just to burn it. Speaking of burning, the mayor calls me to tell me that City Hall had burst into flames, and apparently fire extinguishers didn't exist in 2004, so I had to shoot each individual flame with my trusty water gun. After calming down the mayor, he realizes that the cowhead I delivered for the mob boss earlier was rigged with explosives, an assassination attempt. I leave, and that very same mob boss threatens my kneecaps and tells me to build a vault to keep his blood money in. So I give Sassy a sarsaparilla hot dog, and I'm straight back to playing cards so that I can afford a vault. But now, for some reason, every time I start a new round, I get the same great hand that allows me to win every time. I think it's because I fed Bigfoot, but I'm not even sure. As you can see here, I was dealt like a million jillion skeletons every round, which reminded me of a badass trailer that Mega Bloks made back in the day to advertise their Pirates set.
The skeleton crew. The skeleton crew. The terrible, invincible, the fearsome crew. The skeleton crew.
Fucking best thing in the world. The skeleton crew. The skeleton crew.
I played until I had reasonably lost enough of my mind.
The skeleton crew. The skeleton crew. Going insane.
And now 10 grand richer, I took my pirate booty to City Hall and bought the vault permit, as well as a few others. I also had saved up enough to buy that Sisyphus arcade game.
Oh, I got a butt mash. Oh. It doesn't matter what I do, it comes back. That's amazing. Wait, am I even doing anything? No. Shut up, who's calling me?
My pirate guest was requesting a specific chair, but now that I was poor again, I was straight back to the cards. Until I decided this whole video would be a lot easier to make if I just cheated myself $1 million. To pass the time, I got myself a TV, and had a little look at the sperm wiggling around.
What the fuck is that?
and then went back to the shop to check what else he had.
What's that? A pet bunyip, what? An odd and possibly fake creature from Australia. Please feed it. Yes? What?
So now I had a bunyip in my room. Do you realize how fucked that is? Do you even know what a bunyip is? In case you don't, it's basically an indigenous Australian, like, folk legend creature thing. Kinda like a cryptid, I guess, but not really. It's supposed to look like a swamp dog monster guy? I don't know, I just didn't realize people outside of Australia even knew what it was. I mean, people do. I mean, like, if you go into Minecraft and you change the language to Australian, it actually changes creepers to bunyips. But, like, what's next? Like, Yowies? the Blue Mountains Panther? Also, have you ever heard of it's a Yaramayahu. A Yaramayahu. It's like a red frog guy. And he makes people short. It's terrifying. Anyway, I checked out the 2 new rooms. The nightclub with the dance floor and some cocktails, and the Lion Lounge, where I could play music and make a custom ringtone for my in-game phone. Head back to Frankie and he's telling me he's approved of the new vault and is storing $100,000 there. Then he tells me to go run around the desert trying to find random bars of metal in the rain. But not before I run into Old Mate again.
Do you want a bunyip? Ladybug. Right on, man.
My phone then told me there was an alien invasion in the basement.
Where are they? I'm not looking. Oh, there's one. There's an alien right there. There we go. Hold on. That's a classic alien. I can't even... I've squirted him. He melted! There was one little green alien in the basement and I popped him with a fucking water gun and he completely died. He just melted and that was it. I feel bad.
Swallowing my immense guilt, I go buy a metal detector and head out into the desert for Frankie. And I managed to dig up a couple metal bars. And some alien ship parts. Take the bars back to Frankie, and he's all like, "Thanks for the minerals, twink. Hey, can you take this big box and bury it in the desert at nighttime?" And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." What's in the box, he won't tell me. But when you look at the item description, it says it's wiggling. So I guess there's a guy in there. So I get myself a shovel and head out into the desert to bury the motherfucker. And this thumb tells me to piss off. So I guess I actually do have to bury it at nighttime. So to not be caught, I guess. So, to burn some time, I riz up this chick in the casino and then play this brand new game I cheated in. So to explain what this is, basically in old DS's you could actually insert Game Boy games, and it turns out there was a Sims 2 for the Game Boy as well. Not only that, but if you put in the Game Boy Sims into the DS, then you'd unlock Mugu Monkeys, which I could not fucking understand for the life of me.
What? What is happening? That one? And then play that card. I'm so confused. What the fuck was that? What? What is fucking happening? I want that monkey. Play the rainbow one. What? I'm like too scared to even try to do that again. I did not. I can't. I'm out. I'm out of there. That's like terrifying. I have no idea what the fuck that was.
Alright, side note. You know how I said you could put Game Boy games in a DS? Well, when I was a kid, I shoved the Game Boy Incredibles game into my old DS, and when I tried to rip it out, it took so much of my 9-year-old strength that I absolutely thundercunted the bitch straight into a brick wall. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. When I was in the desert earlier, I found some mummified aliens, and then I took them into my government laboratory and harvested their organs for cash. Anyway, moving right along, as soon as the sun goes down, I head back into the desert to bury this guy. And I'm stopped immediately by an FBI agent who makes a 7 reference, and then tells me she's confiscating the box and my shovel, and that we'll be in touch. I go back to Frankie and tell him that I actually did bury the body, and he's like, "Alright, sick." And then I head outside, and immediately, the feds make me wear a wire and send me straight back to Frankie's room. He then admits to laundering money in my fucking basement, and then he's arrested straight away. He gives me some cash and goes to jail, and that is the end of Frankie Fusilli's story. Entering into part 2, this goth chick, who then swoops in for the now vacant penthouse. I also check in Pedro Pascal, and Frankie, he was apparently out of jail already. I guess money laundering isn't too important a crime. Then I'm told there's aliens on the roof this time. In the rain. You know, despite being allergic to water. In fact, this spiteful little freak was literally in my pool. I actually failed to take on the 2 aliens, and I get fucking tractor beamed. And according to the way I'm walking, I was also probed. When I was a kid playing this and first got abducted, I actually didn't get the joke that the aliens probed you. I thought they like lobotomized you or took part of your brain or something. Which in my opinion is way creepier than getting a Vulcan holding hands with my lower intestines. To take advantage of my vulnerable state, I decided to make a quick painting of me painting the painting. You don't fucking believe how fucking good I am at art. Look at that. Do you believe that? No, you don't. I bet you fucking don't. You don't believe it. You don't fucking believe how fucking good I am. This microphone cover smells like Easter chocolate. I go back to Ava Cadavra, and she tells me to build her a dark room with no windows for her jazzercise class. I buy the permit for it and check out the room. Turned out it was a room set with a shrine to a big-ass golden cow for Ava's cult to worship. She tells me it's punk rock as fuck, so I follow her back down into the culting room and find that she's already brainwashed 3 of my guests, including the mob boss's daughter, and Kramer over there. But she's not satisfied at all. She tells me to go mug one of the cows outside for their bell to bestow upon the bronze bovine buttfucker statue. She says it's dope and them's the breaks. High five! Deciding I'm done with this friggin' town, I run out into the desert to explore a bit more. It's mostly just dunes and sand and rock. Although there is a crashed UFO. And an irradiated lake, which is definitely coming up from my hotel. And is that the fucking moon lander module? From Apollo? Done with this shit, I run further into the desert until I lose my mind completely and get abducted by aliens again. As soon as I wake up again, Ava calls me to go buy rotting eggplant lipstick, as she doesn't know where to get it. Or she's just a lazy little diplodocus, because it's the top item that the one shop in town has. I get it, return it to her, and she's like, slay. I get a mysterious phone call then that's telling me to seek an entrance to a secret crypt. I head out into the desert and find a mini glowing pyramid, which promptly spawns a friggin' mummy. More specifically, Horus Menhoset IX, who tells me that the goth chick's evil had been around since he was alive and that I must stop it. I dig up his coffin so he can crash at my place, and he tells me a joke. They just discovered an Egyptian tomb filled with chocolate and hazelnut. It's the tomb of Pharaoh Ashur. Sorry. So I stick the sarcophagus in my room, and the mummy comes out, and he's like, Prime Heifer has not become a physical being yet, so go get the branding iron from the jail, which was actually my personal iron from when I was alive, and use it to smash the Heifer shrine. Then Raven is like, fuck you, why would you do that? And then the mummy is like, GG, easy dubs. Old mate is back, and he tells me that the penthouse is on fire. But it's not. But also, my car is in worse shape than we first fought, further trapping me here to witness this. A robot gorilla walks in called Optimum Alfred. Now, before I move on, can we appreciate this design? Like, the aliens and the mummy and the mobster were all like the stereotypical designs. But when you think of a robot, you'd think of maybe something like this, or like this. But Optimum Alfred here actually does look kinda cool. That is a freaky ass design. He's all like hunched over and long and dark. He looks like a scrapped Half-Life model or something. Back through the looking glass, Optimus Prime just walked in, and he's like, who called for a butler? Then he tells me that this apartment, which was not on fire, seems to have been annihilated out of anger, despite looking exactly the fucking same. And insists that I need to buy him a galvatronic power recharger so that he can clean the penthouse. Then apparently out of impatience, he shoves his head into my toilet. But hey, at least he's censoring himself. With a newspaper on his foot. Oh, well, golly gee, where am I supposed to find a galvatronic power recharger at this time of the night? How about the one fucking shop that exists? There is one shop in the entire town, and he owns everything. How do you come across these items? Why do you own these things? Who are you? I'm sick of this fucking town. Where the fuck did you get a bunyip? Why are you green? Why in the fuck are you green? So I give the atomic toothbrush to RoboKong and he's like, thanks. Now give me a job, I'm bored. So I tell him to check the wiring in the building and he's like, fuck, for 20 nuclear rods I'll do it. Back into the desert, back into the penthouse, give him the rods, get called an organic peon. Then he does this and he's like, whoa Nelly, that was some good juice, boss. Then immediately after that, he complains that he can't watch Kids WB, and then tells me that every time he tries to fix the satellite on the roof, a mole man comes out and chews the cables. And here he is, Lord Mole, who claims that he's actually trying to save my hotel. So naturally, I cap Mole Man with my squirt gun and he's like, fuck you, the robot's evil, and then he teleports away. After that, Mecha Clodzilla calls Mole Man a bugger and announces that his devious plans to watch TV will soon commence. Dude is fiending for his Ben 10, I guess. Returning to the lobby, the robot guy is announcing that the time for robots is nigh, and then Mama Hog prays that a superhero called the Raticator will come and rescue them. So naturally, what I have to do is run across town to City Hall to buy a permit for the Rat Cave. But every time I get caught by one of these robot goon motherfuckers, they make me piss my pants and cry and send me to my room. Luckily, I did make it eventually, and 8 hours later, my Rat Cave was complete. And it was the sickest room in the game, set with waterfalls and a badass black shitter. And then in this pod over here, we find, ladies and gentlemen, the rat suit. Don it and become the Raticator. I guess it's supposed to be Batman. I don't know, I don't care at this point, we're almost there. This unlocks a new minigame where you have to first scare the robots and then throw a ratarang at them. And then kick them in the ass and send them to Gotham Asylum. Bimo gets pissed that I'm fucking annihilating his robot goons, and then Emperor Zizzle returns, and he's like, well, I fucking hate that guy, how about we work together? So I hack my own elevator to get back into the penthouse, steal the robot's blueprints for the satellite, and then bring them back to Zizzle. And then the robot comes back, and he's standing at the top of the stairs like it's some kind of friggin' sitcom, and he's like, oh, get fucked, why were you in my room, you stupid mammal? And then the robot goes back to his room, and then Zizzle's like, oh, turns out the satellite can't actually be hacked, so never mind the blueprint. Here, take this actual fucking alien potion, and turn into a giant, and then beat up the fucking satellite, and then come back to me. And I do that, and he's like, oh, huge, go beat up Alfred. And then this brings us to the final boss fight of this life simulator game. So here's the sitch. I have to become the Raticator again and throw enough boomerangs at Alfred before he scares me first. Then do the same to his 4 lackeys before I lose sanity. And that's not me complaining, I mean you were literally racing against your Sim's sanity meter. Then repeat this process a couple times, 360 no-scope Alfred one more time, and then he drowns in the hotel pool. So you jump up onto the top of the hotel, and then stand with pride, and gaze upon the car that brought you to this fucking nightmare in the first place.
The car.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Oh my god.
And that's it! You get a really weird remix of the voice lines from the game, and then you just plopped right back into it like none of this was out of the ordinary. And I think that deserves a hit whelp. After playing this for the first time all those years ago, I have finally finished Sims 2 for the fucking DS, baby. And I'll admit something. Besides that Sims Castaway game for the PlayStation 2, this is the only Sims game I've actually played. I've still not, to this day, played an actual normal Sims game. And to be honest, after this experience, I don't know how they could top this. This game was just downright strange. And I think that's why I love it. The feeling I used to get as a kid sat in bed playing this game was completely unique to this game. I just remember entering a room and being terrified as soon as like the alien music would start. Or just walking around and feeling super uncomfortable around any of the characters. And they'd just be randomly moping around like zombies and acting strange and fucking just crying in the desert and getting abducted. It was just so... I felt so uncomfortable my entire time playing this game as a kid. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. You know how I kept speeding up time by just changing the time in my computer? Well, if you did that on the DS back in the day, you would actually get this cutscene. How fucked is that? Even just walking from room to room, listening to the music, that's an experience in of itself. Like, can you imagine walking around a hotel in a thunderstorm and there's barely anyone there? The only people you're seeing are like got their heads down and crying and moping around, and this song is playing on the friggin' loudspeaker? It's like, it has just enough in it, just enough to imply a positive feeling. Like, take 1% of that away, and it's just downright uncomfortable. And I love it. Like, I was writing the scripts to this video, listening to the soundtrack over and over. If you're like me, you might have thought, oh, it probably takes a real nobody nutcase to write this kind of game. But I was fucking wrong, because the writer of this game is one Darby McDevitt. And, if you don't know, he co-wrote Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag and directed Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and he's also directing the next massive Assassin's Creed game. And as well as that, he co-wrote the fucking awesome Lord of the Rings PlayStation 2 games that everyone's talking about. What the fuck? But above all, I remember this. When I played this as a kid, I actually thought that this is what all games must be like. But all these years later, and having played hundreds of games since, I can say once and for all that I was an absolute fucking idiot. Sims 2 for the DS is the best game ever made. Fucking fight me about it. Fight me about it. You fucking won't. You're scared. You are scared. I am Ratman. Ratman is literally me. I killed a robot with a boomerang like I was SEAL Team 6. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's true. Oh! Are you right. Okay, that's a drink for me.